Weather Center. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight, a low temperature of 68 degrees and light southeast winds. Chance of thunderstorms on Tuesday with a high of 88 and southwest winds at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Wednesday, thunderstorms are likely with a high temperature of 82. On Thursday, sunshine with a high temperature of 83. Friday, sunny, high of 82. Saturday, sunny with a high of 92. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 84.
Excuse me, miss. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Can you recommend a bank that offers a full suite of commercial banking products along with excellent service?
Yes, ABOC.
What about a bank that has been in Chicago for more than 100 years and really understands the local business climate?
ABOC.
But I manage a labor union. Can you recommend a bank that really understands how labor unions operate and what banking products they need?
Again, ABOC. ABOC first opened its doors in downtown Chicago in 1922 and understands the local business climate better than anyone. ABOC was founded by labor unions and still has union employees and shareholders today, so they really understand how unions tick and how their needs may be different. But whether you're with a labor union or another type of business, whether you're large or small or something in between, ABOC will always make you feel like you're their most important customer. Visit ABOC.com to learn more.
Wow, thank you, random person on the street. I'm going to visit ABOC.com today.
Member FDIC.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
What? Okay, that was a weekend. I don't know how Ken Mejia-Beal feels, but that feels like that was a weekend.
That was the Mondayest of weekends ever.
Oh my God.
It was a lot of work.
I don't know where to start. So let's start with gratitude.
Yes.
Thank you so much to Ken Mejia-Beal for being here today.
And thank you for having me.
My pleasure, my friend. We have a great show coming up.
We really do.
We have a lot to talk about. First, I want to, I feel like I need to do a settling in moment here. Hi, everybody watching and listening. You can find us on Facebook Live, as well as if you have to leave your house and you want to download the TuneIn app, I highly encourage that for being able to stay tuned to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez with guest co-host Ken Mejia-Beal. Coming up on the show, we are going to talk about some events in the area, both in the Chicagoland area and for our listening area, because, of course, we have friends in Seattle, in Minneapolis, St. Paul, as well as around the world, because who knows where people are tuning in.
Friends all over.
You know, one of my favorite things, when I started doing radio, there was a guy from Italy, David, who would message us that he was learning English by listening to my radio show.
Oh, boy.
And I was so, yes, correct response was, oh, boy, because I talk very fast.
Yeah.
I use a lot of I have a Chicago accent. I use a lot of Chicago slang, like over by there. You know, every sentence ends with a preposition, which is not grammatically correct. Necessarily. But at any rate, so David was learning English because show, I was on the air overnight and he was listening at like 8 a.m. on the way to work. So somehow he found my show and there we were. And for years, I don't even know if David is still following. I don't know if he wants to.
He's angry because he thought he knew English.
Right? I've always had this image of him like failing some class where he's taking, I don't think he's trying to get like dual citizenship in the United States or something.
What is the plural form of you? Use guys.
Use guys.
Use guys.
So where's the party? It's over by there.
Yeah, over by there.
Who will you be joining? Who will be joining you? Well, the people I'm going with.
Right. Exactly.
Everything's duh instead of the.
So bad.
Right? I wanna, like when I do voice to text, I don't correct when it says I want to. It says I wanna or do you wanna.
Well, that's the way it is.
I know. So my voice to text always picks up wanna instead of want to. So because apparently I don't say want to. Do you want to go to?
Who does though?
Who wants to say that? I want to say it like this.
I don't want to say want to. I wanna.
Coming up on the show today, we're excited to welcome at 5:30. We'll have Diane, Blair, Sherlock, Illinois State Representative of the 46th District. Thank you very much for inviting her to join us. At 5:45, we're going to talk to Jill Farrar of Renewed Hope Methodist Church to promote their Building Allies event for bystander intervention training to support LGBTQIA on Saturday, June 21st. And coming up a little bit later, we'll talk to Kelsey Alto, Director of Programming for the Twin Cities Pride Festival.
I cannot wait.
And I know that you recently went to, were you in
I
Ohio?
was in Columbus for their No King / Pride protest parade. It was beautiful. I had a great time. I've never been.
I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah.
And I love that you were, you posted about how we're not going back.
No.
Right? For the first Stone's Thrown.
Yeah. We're here.
We're here.
And I get a little when I made a post a couple of weeks ago about being agitators, and I had so many people that were like, well, you can't change the world if you're agitating the elected officials. Pride was literally a riot.
Yes.
Riots are the voices of the unheard.
Right.
And it is the world we live in. There are people that want to do things the polite way and people who want expletives done. And I'm at a place where I just want to get things done. The world is falling apart. I don't have time to say please and thank you anymore.
No!
We're not in that place anymore.
We really do not.
Yes.
I had a weird experience on Saturday because I did do our own version. So Committeewoman Maggie O'Keefe of the 40th Ward.
Who's amazing.
Right?
Love you, Maggie.
So she created an event long before there was going to be a protest, right? They had created a festival. It was a Free America Festival, of course, FAFO.
Gotta love
obviously,
it.
I think obviously was the last word. So they had planned music and comedy. And so when it became apparent there was going to be this historic protest on Saturday, right? I was already booked for this, and I was like, this is great. And there were people there that weren't necessarily comfortable with going down to a big mass protest. And so they were joining us in the community, including some listeners. Amy, hello, from Ravenswood. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Amy.
Super sweet. And we had listeners that stopped by, and all weekend we've been talking to folks who are like, thank you so much for what you do at WCPT. But to your point about I'm not here to say please and thank you.
No.
And I'm also not here to make people feel comfortable when they are
Correct.
wrong loudly
Yes.
and boldly. So after her event, I was coming home and I'm like, I need to stop somewhere and just decompress a little bit, get something
Correct.
to eat, maybe get a drink. So I stopped at a joint that's not, I'm not going to say which joint it is. It is a Northwest Side establishment. And I look,
I am terrified of where this is going, but keep going.
It's not, I don't know if it's so much terror, but it was more of a, of course that happened sort of a situation.
Got it.
It's my
Okay.
life. But I understand that when I sit at a bar by myself, I am putting myself in a position of having to be social with other people, right?
Yes.
You can't sit at a bar necessarily and expect for everyone to leave you alone. It's a social situation, whether it's a bartender, possibly people next to you.
Correct.
Right? If I'm at a table and I've had this where guys come over and talk to me, that's where
Absolutely not.
Exactly.
That is a boundary
I had a
issue.
guy sit down at my table one time. I was like, "Oh, you look a little lonely over here." Yeah.
No. Get up.
And that was before I was 0 F's given in the world. So I'm at the bar. I order a drink. I order the bartender and I talk about what I'm going to have. And then these two guys, and I'll show you the image later because I was like, "Oh, I'm taking a picture of this moment in my mind." Yeah, not just in my mind, but I'm going to have this picture.
Yeah.
So these guys sit down and they weren't together. They started up a chat, and I don't know like what it is about white dudes where they just like have this sort of like, right, we're on the same page, right. And the guy goes, "You see what's happening in California?" Right? And the other guy goes, "Yeah, it's about time."
Got it. And
Yep.
you're just like, I'm out.
Oh, God.
Please don't.
No, I'm in.
Please
I'm
don't.
the opposite.
Oh, no.
Let's see where this is going to go. Okay.
Rev
we're
up.
doing this. So he's like, it's about time. They got to round these people up. And I'm glad they called in the National Guard, the
Jesus.
whole thing, right? And then the more aggressively ignorant one goes, and this thing in Minnesota, you see this, and Governor Walz, he appointed him, and the other guy's like, yeah, they can't even.
Sick.
I was just like, so, I don't know if it's apparent while watching me on social media that I don't have a poker face. I think that you can see that I wear my emotion. I mean, my eyebrow was like up behind my earlobe. I'm like, let's see where this is going. But they're almost gleeful about these murders, about the assassination of a former Speaker of the House of
Because they
Representatives
are
of Minnesota.
Horrible human beings.
Just so gross.
Yes.
So my eyebrows up above, and I'm trying to. The screens are just golf, which I hate. But now I got to pretend like, oh, this is the most amazing golf game in the world. My face. I'm like, I'm trying to I'm just trying not to. I don't want to get. I don't want to interject myself into this conversation, but. But like he says something so egregious. Let's call him Eli because that's how he introduced himself to me later, and I accidentally made eye contact with him, and he goes, "What?" Right, because
they were waiting for the icon. They were waiting for the
bring
engagement.
Me into this fight. Yes. So my eyebrows
Bear is awake now.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yes. But here's the thing. I still don't. What we did at 5:00 yesterday, whatever time this was, I think it was about 5 p.m. We still didn't have all the information. Even the post that I made in the morning that someone posing as a police officer had executed a legislator in her home. I rewrote it to just that she'd been shot because we didn't have necessarily all the information. I didn't want to be ahead of the cart.
No.
So I had heard throughout the day that this was somebody that Governor Walz had appointed, but he'd also been previously appointed by Governor Dayton.
Correct.
And also an appointment. I don't know if Republicans know this, but there is such a thing as bipartisan coalitions. Inviting people.
You expect Republicans to know stuff.
I mean.
Okay.
And that's the thing. It was a workforce panel that he appointed him to.
You don't have to explain it to us.
I know.
We understand things.
When we research, we don't just go to one source.
Yeah.
So then, so I make eye contact with Eli, and he goes, "What?" And I'm like, "Nothing." He goes, "What are you looking at?" So we're doing
Eli.
this. We're doing this, right? And
Buckle up, baby.
And I go, I was just gazing around the room and accidentally landed here. I landed here. So we're just looking at each other, and we just now we're in a staring contest. Yep. He wants me to lose my mind, and I'm just like,
and you won't. You
what
won't.
Are we doing?
Good for you.
So the other guy leaves. He goes to the bathroom, and Eli wants to again. Like I could feel it, and I'm not making eye contact.
No, you don't have to.
That Brown Braun golfer, or whatever his name is, he almost got a hole in one from like way far away.
I got it.
I think it was a birdie. I don't know what it was.
I don't know anything about golf. I drive the cart.
I'm right. Finally, he goes, "What are you drinking?" I go, "Oh, I'm having a bee's knees." Now, I'll promote the products of the bar, right?
Yeah.
I'm having a bee's knees. It's one of the specials on the menu. And he goes, "What's in it?" Right? So I say, "It's got gin." And he goes, "Gin?" And now starts yelling at me about
Is this happening? Are we doing this?
This is happening.
This is happening.
Why not just vodka? I'm like, did you want to know the answer to my question? He's like, oh, geez, here we go.
Oh.
So he's trying to have the argument of the other issues over the cop. You're not getting me.
No.
I'm not in this. No,
right.
Right? And he's yelling at me about gin over vodka.
Sure.
And I'm like, did you want to know the answer? Because it also has, and he won't let me finish.
Of course not.
No, and then he says, I remind him of his bag of a wife.
Well, I was just going to say Republican men typically have a hard time with letting women finish.
Yeah, exactly.
I said what I said.
And I heard what you said, and I agree with it.
But
they finished, and he should have been finished.
He should have been, but well, I will. Sorry.
They cut him off because he's yelling at me while the bartender's standing there. She's like, because we're not arguing politics.
No,
we're arguing over gin versus vodka. He's like, what do you like gin for? And I'm like, well, actually, gin has an herbal quality to it. There's got gin. I know, but I'll go there.
You're so much better than
I'm like, Hendrix has a little bit of a floral note to it. There's a little bit of a juniper to it. It's not as juniper forward as Bombay Sapphire.
He was fuming. Like, take the bite. Take the bait.
Nope. No, because first of all, I'm not safe, and I know that.
Correct.
I'm not safe.
No, you're not.
It was just that my facial expressions were not manageable while they were leaning into the misinformation about what happened in this horribly tragic situation in Minnesota. Yes. And so that was.
If I can, because the rest of this show is going to be amazing and uplifting, but a mentee of mine actually worked was a staffer. And I was in Columbus, and I got a text message.
I'm so sorry.
And he was devastated. And we did connect. And, when you take politics out of it, these are people.
Yes.
These are actual lives that have been lost. These are family members and friends that their loved ones won't get to see for holidays or special occasions. We have to keep that in mind first. And that's the part that folks forget. These are broken in you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
We are talking with Ken Mejia-Beal, guest co-hosting me. You're co-hosting me. And
I'm
you're my guest.
co-hosting.
You're co-hosting me. Guest
I'm a
co-hosting.
co-guest.
Hosting with me today. We are going to talk some more about the events of the weekend. Want to know what your experiences were? You can text us at 773-763-9278. And our friends listening in the evenings in Seattle, Washington, if you want to message me, I'm going to get that email for you because I know that you can't call in necessarily unless you're tuning in on your TuneIn app. You can listen to me all the time, but you can listen to me live and call in during the show, 773-763-9278. That is the Credo Mobile phone line, which is also our text line. Credo Mobile, a progressive phone company that is better for all people on the planet. We will continue our conversation when we come back on WCPT 820 and KKNW 1150 in Seattle, Washington.
The Rick Smith Show.
What comes of all of this chaos? Because look, it's fun to watch. It's interesting to watch as they're literally, falling on their face. What does it mean to us? How bad does it get for us? We, the working people of this country, who don't have the kind of wealth to weather a storm, the ones who are going to probably lose our homes, to people like Donald Trump, who does have the wealth to weather the storm, or at least the credit.
The Rick Smith Show, weeknights at 7 on WCPT 820.
If you're purchasing a new home or refinancing your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Corey called to consolidate his debt and was so happy with my advice, he left me this 5-star Google review. Quote, I was looking to pay off debt, so I reached out to David after listening to his radio show. David called me personally and walked me through my options. He shot it straight. There was no beating around the bush or pushing me to sign anything. If any of my family or friends need anything related to a mortgage, I'll give them David's number because you can't get better or more honest service. Thanks, Corey. I strongly encourage everyone to check out our close to 600 5-star Google reviews from listeners like Corey. Team Hochberg helped Corey and thousands of radio listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That's 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, MLS 112-4061.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. I'm your host, Patti Vasquez, joined in the studio by guest co-host Ken Mejia-Beal. Hey, Ken, before we get to back to this conversation about the tragic assassinations in Minnesota and attempted assassinations. Saturday was a remarkable day.
Beautiful day.
It really, the numbers are, it was Chicago, that Chicago wasn't even in the top 5 for biggest turnout. And it was massive.
It was huge.
It was like Seattle, it was Los Angeles, New York. I think that Philadelphia was number one. I think it was the number one. And they're estimating, because it's hard to capture like small towns. Jefferson Park had a protest around the park today too, on Saturday as well. So there were pockets. You were in Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus was massive. It was massive. I was very proud to be an American.
I love that. I love that. And have you seen some of the cuts back and forth between people who fight against fascism and those who want it? And it's the squeaky wheel on the tank at the military parade. And
that parade juxtaposed against the actual protest was phenomenal to see, because that was one of the saddest dictator parades I've ever seen.
Well, even the military,
it was just sad.
They seem like they were done with it. They're marching out of step. They're not in
They were
formation.
done.
They had like even their pants. Some of them had them. Someone mentioned that it's called ballooned or something, like where they're tucked into the boots. Some
Yeah.
of them had it like half in, half out. Like
Who cares?
Bill Murray did a better job in Stripes.
It was bad.
Is all I'm saying. It was wild.
Part of me wishes they had just kept cutting to Marco Rubio, who looked like there was a moment where you can see he was having a crisis of the mind. Like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
What am I? And it's like, yeah, little Marco, what are you? Come on.
It was so surreal. Absolutely surreal. So I was talking before the break with Ken about a interaction I had with some guys.
Guys, not gentlemen.
Yeah, no, sorry.
Yeah.
These guys at the bar. And I have grown up around this. I grew up here in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, I remember the first time I got into a big fight with one of my dad's friends who said that Fernando Valenzuela just like drinking cactus juice and wasn't a good pitcher. He pitched for the LA Dodgers and was remarkable. He was a phenom, but Tommy Lasorda blew out his arm. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So I got into a fight at the age of, let's see, if Fernando Valenzuela, probably I was maybe 12 or 13 years old, fighting with a dude like in his 60s or 70s. So I've had the bar fights, but I wanted them to bring it to me. I was not going to interject my opinion. Paul from Seattle has some thoughts on these guys at the bar who were, one, just absolutely salivating about the ICE raids in Los Angeles, having the National Guard there, the Marines, this sort of militarized occupation, as well as they were somewhat giddy over the assassination of the former Speaker of the House of Representatives in Minnesota. Paul, what are your thoughts on conversations like that at a bar?
Well, let me first say that here on the east side of Seattle and Kirkland, we had 5,000. And Kirkland is a large, about 90,000 people in Kirkland. So we did our 3.5%. We had about 5.5% of our population. So it was it was more of a shuffle because it was so crowded. Mm-hmm. It took us about 2 hours to go, like about 3/4 of a mile down to the park. So it was very crowded, very successful. But that's not what I called. The guys at the bar, yeah, okay, a bar is sociable, but if they're sitting on either side of you, either right next to you or at some distance, one is two chairs down, the other, if they're talking across you, there's nothing wrong with you saying, hey, guys, I'm here to eat lunch and relax. If I don't really want to be in the middle of your conversation, so could you guys move next to each other? And if they won't do that, then you say, well, okay, how about if I switch chairs with one of you? I'll switch chairs with you. And if they won't do that, you just say, you ask the bartender, can you take my plate and my drink and move it down over there, please?
Yeah.
And then you turn your back on them.
I know. Again, even reacting that way, it was a reaction. I was giving them zero. Yeah. I was giving them zero until I was directly asked a question about my cocktail. And then it was now an argument about vodka versus gin, which is just ridiculous. It was just crazy to me. Besides, I like a good
that's
bee's
when you
knees.
say, the guy was harassing you.
Yes.
I would say, look.
Yeah, he was.
He
was. That part's true.
Tell the bartender. Yes. He's harassing.
Oh, no, she took care of it. I don't know if you would be surprised by this, but my volume can escalate very quickly.
No.
And it was clear to everyone in the bar that this guy was causing me problems. And so they cut him off, and then he eventually just threw he was angry, was accusing me of being the source of that. But no, he was cut off by the bar. And then they told me he was problematic, and I'm like, then why let this escalate at any rate? Yeah. So I appreciate that, Paul.
Yeah, they definitely marked you.
No doubt.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. For sure.
I had like resist pins on. I had a big pride flag on. I had keep abortion safe and legal. But I mean, I was covered in it. Yeah. I was drenched in. I don't just not have a poker face. everything about me screams, I'm going to be a problem for you. So, thank you, Paul. Appreciate it.
You know what? I got to tell you, I'll tell you real quick, but this was a number of years ago. I was sitting at a bar, and a guy says to me, hey, what do you think of that Benghazi thing, huh?
Oh, God.
I said, I don't know. What happened? He goes, you don't know? I said, no, tell me. He goes, oh, come on. It's been all over the news, man. I said, well, I haven't seen it. What happened? He goes, oh, listen, man, if you don't know, I'm not going to tell you. I said, oh, I don't know if you know. You can't tell me what happened. It's just listen, what they do is just they bring stuff up. just to choose people off. And I was like, I'm not playing. I'm just like, tell me what happened. He didn't know. He doesn't know what happened.
No, they don't know.
He knew nothing about it.
No. They just want us. They want to. Gotta be starting something. Yep. You gotta be starting something. Thank you so much. Have a good night, Paul.
Have a good one, Paul.
Yeah. Let's get to some of this audio because obviously there's a lot of reactions and thank you, Ken, for sharing this personal message from your friend who worked formerly worked.
That was his boss, actually.
Currently his boss, Speaker Horman.
I'm not
entirely sure. Let me. But I want to thank you for sharing that because I know it's personal. I know it's somebody that you care about, who looks up to you, and a lot of folks are reacting to this horrific news over the weekend of the assassination and assassination attempt. There was a lot of rush to sort of. For me, I had to wait. When I heard he was possibly impersonating a police officer, my mind first went to this is part of why we cannot have ICE masked. Also, how do you trust law enforcement when people wrap themselves in the cloak of being the people that protect and serve? So that was very hard.
Yes, it is.
But also the rush to. I mean, I had people on my Facebook page like, "Oh, well, she voted against immigrants, so I'll bet it was an immigrant." Like all this stuff before we had more information.
People love playing Nancy Drew, and there's always a rush to. There's never a rush to compassion anymore. It's always a rush to finger point. There's zero compassion in the world.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It's a very sad world we live in.
Yeah, and that was my thought when I posted it. Like, I don't want to put like a no trolls allowed kind of a thing because I was kind of curious to see if the bottom feeders would be sucking up all the misinformation. They freaking loved it.
They love it.
So let's take a quick. Now I've run out of time to do the thing that they wanted me to do at the station.
I'm just a guest here.
No. Okay. What we want you to do. Okay, we have a new idea. We want you to turn to camera, and I think is what I'm supposed to do, and give my opinions to the camera. And I have to do it when we come back because we're out of time. So maybe we'll do that at 6. I'm sure we'll have time at 6.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about the fallout. If I sound like I'm laughing in the face of tragedy, welcome to my life, everybody. More with Ken Mejia-Beal when we come back in just a moment. We'll be joined by our friend
Representative Diane Blair Sherlock.
Thank you very much for making sure that I know that we're doing this next. More in a moment on WCPT and KKNW 1150.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight, a low temperature of 68 degrees and light southeast winds. Chance of thunderstorms on Tuesday with a high of 88 and southwest winds at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Wednesday, thunderstorms are likely with a high temperature of 82. On Thursday, sunshine with a high temperature of 83. Friday, sunny, high of 82. Saturday, sunny with a high of 92. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 84.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
Dive deeper into the heart of the news and stories at WCPT 820 and across the Midwest by checking out our website, heartlandsignal.com.
It's the coverage I can count on every time.
For the latest news updates, in-depth analysis, compelling stories, comprehensive election coverage, live streams, and thought-provoking opinions, head to heartlandsignal.com.
When I need to know, they're there.
They keep me informed and updated wherever I am.
Stay informed with WCPT 820, your go-to source for where facts matter.
This is your WCPT Progressive Calendar. Monday, June 23rd at noon, the City Club of Chicago presents Chicago Teachers Union President Stacey Davis Gates in conversation with Dan Gibbons, City Club CEO. The event takes place at Maggiano's Banquets, 111 West Grand Avenue in Chicago. Seating is limited. Get your tickets at cityclub-chicago.org. Wednesday, June 25th from 5 to 7 p.m. Join the Chicago City Builders Book Club for a discussion of The City is Up for Grabs, how Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot led and lost a city in crisis by Gregory Royal Pratt. Pratt will be there for Q&A. The event is free and takes place at Cocoa Bar, 316 North Wabash Avenue in Chicago. If you'd like to submit your event or ask a question about something you've heard in this update, email calendar at WCPT820.com.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. Ken doesn't know what happened in the hallway just now, but I'm the only person that has time constraints when it comes to going to the restroom, right? So I go out there and one's being cleaned and God bless them, but also another one's locked and I'm I
gotta go.
Well, and the one across the hall, the closest one for me to take a break, it says men's room on it, so I just ran out there and just ripped that's why I popped back out and I ripped the men's door name off of it because that's not happening anymore.
All bathrooms should be gender neutral.
I'm just saying.
It just makes life easier.
All right, I feel better. What a great way to welcome our next guest. Ken, we need let's do a mental cleanse here. You know what? I think that this is what we need. We need this. Just a little bit of a. I need to relax for a second before. Let's center ourselves so that we can be better mentally prepared for our guests. Guest co-host Ken Mejia-Beal joins me in the studio, and now joining us on the line is State Representative Diane Blair Sherlock, who represents the Illinois 46th District. Thank you so much for joining us, Representative. How are you doing today?
Hi, good, Patty. How are you?
I feel better now. I don't have a sense of urgency.
Better, right? Yeah. Having given birth a couple times, I get it. Yeah. When you gotta go, you gotta go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I am not going to let the word men's room block me next time from going but the closest situation.
No.
All right. Well, so first of all, let me come back and I want to thank you for your service. I know that this weekend had to be just traumatic and scary. The work that you all do, and regardless of party, I know that for the majority of those who serve our state and our country, do it because they really want to make a difference in people's lives. So thank you so much, and I'm so sorry to you, your colleagues here and around the country.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Actually, I was deep in the forests of southern Illinois when all this was going down, and people were panicking because they couldn't find me. And there was no phone service. But I was able to get out and reach some people and say, I'm okay, and I'm in a very safe place because nobody knows who I am down here, And for that, I was grateful. But what a scary thing, and we shouldn't be in a place like that, right?
No.
We should be able to discuss our differences and like we used to be able to.
Correct.
But, when the rhetoric gets ratcheted up the way it's been getting ratcheted up, and I don't see anything changing because nobody seems to be changing their tune on the other side. And that's just shameful.
Correct.
And I really hope that we can turn the corner because, we are the examples for our children. What kind of example are we setting?
Not a good one.
It's really disheartening, right?
Not a good one.
Absolutely. And my prayers to the people in Minnesota. Absolutely.
I agree. It is heartbreaking. And I know that you over the last, in the last 10 years since the political tone has gotten so drastically charged, right? I remember hearing some of the voicemails that electeds are getting. Again, this has to hit home on so many levels especially when I'm sure, have you had situations where you've told people these are the kinds of threats that I'm getting just to be sort of poo-pooed and oh, you're overreacting, or Democrats just want to play the victim. We've seen so much of that over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and I have, sadly, this has affected my family life, and some of my relatives are MAGA. And when I did a post the other day on not my public page, but on a page that my MAGA family members are on about, look, you're hurting me when you do this, right? I started getting PMs from them.
Really?
And they were not pleasant PMs. And I'm like, are you kidding me? It's heartbreaking. It really is, because it's destroying relationships and it's just bringing out the ugliest stuff in people. And people who are not mentally stable are latching onto that and doing these horrible, horrible things.
Correct.
I can't imagine a normal person would just go out and do something like this. I have to believe there's something wrong with them.
You are absolutely correct, yes.
Yeah, and it's horrifying, and we need to tone it down. I work across the aisle. Springfield is very different than Washington, D.C. We do work together, with the exception of a few folks, very well. And so, I know when my colleagues on the other side of the aisle have been threatened, I've come to their defense, and I would like to think they'd come to my defense, too. but they don't always. You know, and that's the shame of it. It really is.
I agree.
You know.
What was the tone like in this most recent General Assembly as you had to grapple with, the cost of basically making sure that Illinoisans have what they need and the looming cuts and threats from the federal government?
Well, and that's been tough. Well, first of all, you know, there's the Freedom Caucus in Springfield, which is a very small caucus, but they're a very vocal caucus. And there's some clips out there because, you know, they say, oh, he's not coming after Medicaid. They're not coming after Medicaid. And one guy even said, well, tell him to get out of the basement and get a job. I'm like, you don't understand what's going on here. You know, my kids are both educated, but they both have disabilities, and discrimination is real.
Very much so.
And, you know, regardless of how well they did in college or how many degrees they have, they cannot get full-time viable. Well, my daughter could, but my son cannot get full-time employment with benefits because people look at him and go, well, he's different, right? And he has a disability, but why should he have to be on SSI if he can work and if he has the skill set? Because he's being discriminated against. It's not that he doesn't want to work, it's that he's not given the opportunity. And we all know that employers would rather hire 5 part-time people than 1 full-time person that they have to give benefits to.
That is 100% accurate.
So the cuts to Medicaid, and Medicaid expansion is not affecting lazy, quote-unquote, lazy people. And I get very angry, and I push back really hard on them on that. And they also tell me, oh, they're not going to do that. But then they go and do it. So that's been ugly. And then the whole transports things has been ugly, too. And I've had to go back on them on that, too. So those are the 2 issues that they got really ugly about in Springfield this year. And you know, we just push back as hard as we can. And we do have a supermajority in Illinois, and we're doing everything we can to soften the blows from what the federal government is doing.
What are you hearing from your constituents as we see the images coming out last week in Los Angeles of the ICE raids, of people pushing back, protesting, and then all of a sudden now it's a National Guard situation and sending in the Marines? What are you hearing from folks in your communities?
The majority of my constituents are very upset, and they feel that the federal government is crossing a line and that they're not going after the criminals like they said they were. I mean, for goodness sakes, they're arresting people who are showing up to court or showing up to appointments because they're trying to follow the legal process, and then suddenly they're getting seized and thrown into some place, unknown place. It takes days to find out where they are, and these are people that are here legally, right? And they're trying to follow the law, and it's like what they were trying to do with the students, which they backed off a little bit. They said, oh, we're revoking your visa. Oh, guess what? Now you're illegal. Now we're going to – what? No, you got to give me a chance.
Yeah.
If you're going to revoke my visa, give me a chance to do something about it. You can't just say now, 5 minutes later, you're illegal, so hence you're a criminal. The people, most of my constituents are smart enough to see what's happening here, and they're not happy about it. But the sad thing is a lot of people that were supporting this administration are like, what? We didn't think they were going to do that. They told you they were going to do that.
100%. I think Representative Blair Sherlock, I always chuckle. It's not a funny chuckle when folks say, I don't know, I didn't vote for that. You did vote for this, and whether you acknowledge it or not, this is what you did. I do have while we're talking about just the issues that we have in this country, I know that you are holding an event this coming week to bring folks together and for knowledge and power and all that fun stuff. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. So this is something I'm very excited about. So this Thursday, June 19th, and I have to tell people it's June 19th because everybody is not like me and doesn't know what Juneteenth is. Juneteenth is June 19th, yeah. Excuse me. And we are having our 2nd annual Juneteenth celebration in Bloomingdale, Old Town Park at 111 3rd Street in Bloomingdale, Illinois. And I started this event last year in large part because people they don't know who lives in their community, and they're not around people who aren't like them. And we need to encourage diversity and let people know these are your neighbors. Mm-hmm. And this is also a time where certain parts of the government are trying to rewrite or erase history.
Yes.
And Juneteenth is such an important part of our history. So I'm really excited to have this event. And we have some very good speakers coming, too, including you, Ken.
I'll be there.
Yes.
What?
I will be.
Yes.
Listen, I will be anywhere that Representative Blair Sherlock wants me to be, because she is an amazing representative. And, in Springfield, we give a lot of our state reps, we hold y'all accountable. I don't want to say a hard time, we hold y'all accountable, but you are one of the good ones. You are one of the best. And the reason I say that, and I'm a friend of Diane's, and when she talks to me about the community, it's always based on, this is what people need. This is what I'm hearing, not this is what the poll numbers are showing.
Right.
This is what I'm being told to do.
Yeah.
It's always based in community, which is why she's one of the best. One of the best.
And I have an amazing community, and I have a beautifully diverse community, and I love that.
Yes.
And I embrace all the diversity in my community at a time where we're not supposed to say that out loud, but I say that loud and proud, right?
Yes.
And I love events like this that bring us together, and it was a little shocking last year at the first event when I was telling my family history, because I think that it's important that people understand that you can't judge a book by its cover. My family was actually part of the Great Migration from the South, and I am a descendant of slaves, but if you look at me, you would never know that, right?
Yes.
And so, I tell that story to let people know you can't just take what people say about entire swaths of the population and say that, oh, well, everybody that looks like this is like this, because that's not how it is.
No.
And I think that's so important, Mm-hmm. And this Juneteenth celebration, and it's education. It's about educating the community. And a lot of people who came last year were excited because there were no events in their community that reflected them.
Oh, yeah.
And this does.
So what,
and they were so happy to come out.
So what should people expect when they do come out?
Well, like I said, we're going to have a great group of speakers. We've got you, Ken. We've got the Speaker of the House who's going to come by. Now, I will preface this with the Speaker has had an annual Juneteenth event every year. He does his during the day from 11 to 5 in Hillside.
Yes.
Mine is from 6 to 8 in Bloomingdale. And so the speaker's going to be there. We are going to have Herb Porter, who is just amazing. Chantel Porter, our first female African-American judge out in DuPage County. And she's amazing.
She is.
And we are going to have some great food vendors. Aunt Tina, Soundbites, MX Cocina, Taco Truck, because everybody loves a good taco.
More these days.
Right? Exactly.
Taco truck.
We could have had one on every corner, guys.
I mean, it would have been a good life.
I would vote for it.
Well, this sounds like an amazing event. And again, Representative Diane Blair Sherlock, Illinois State Representative of the 46th District. The event is this Thursday, of course, Juneteenth. Ken Mejia-Beal will be there along with some other great speakers. And folks can find out more information on your Facebook page. Is that the best place to go?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Excellent. We look forward to having you back, my friend. It was great to hear from you. And thank you for hosting this wonderful event and sharing this history.
Absolutely.
Be well.
Good talking to you again, Patty.
We'll talk to you Thursday. Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Let's take a break here. When we come back, we'll talk to Jill Farrar about bystander intervention training. And our friends that are on hold right now, we'll get to all your calls during the 6 o'clock. I apologize. More after this on WCPT 820 and KKNW.
Join Doctors Manish Jain and Khalil Saeed for a free Lunch and Learn hosted by Flourish Research, MedEvidence, and Weiss Memorial Hospital. Explore the connection between type 2 diabetes and chronic kidney disease, how patients can improve outcomes, and how research is shaping tomorrow's treatments. This free event takes place Wednesday, July 2nd at Weiss Memorial Hospital, 4646 North Marine Drive in Chicago. Lunch will be provided, but space is limited. RSVP today at 773-275-3500, extension 113.
Porsche, the name alone exudes class, sends shivers down the spine. Now imagine yourself behind the wheel. Find your new Porsche at the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park. Browse and test drive our extensive selection, like the 2025 Porsche Cayenne. And right now, lease the 2025 Macan Electric for only $1049 a month for 39 months. Visit the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park or PorscheExchange.com. $8,900 to incentive. Excludes tax, title, license, and act. No security deposit required. Expires 6/30/25.
Join the free smoothie party at Tropical Smoothie Cafe on Saturday, June 21st for National Smoothie Day. Tropic Rewards members get a free smoothie with bowl or food purchase. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
Hi, this is Patti Vasquez. We appreciate all our fans of Driving It Home, and your support of show sponsor Minocqua Brewing Company ensures that our important conversations continue right here on WCPT each weekday from 5 to 7 p.m. You can now find the Resistance IPA, Labor Lager, or the Resistance Pilsner beer at several Illinois locations, including Arminetti Wine and Spirits in Woodstock, Pineapple and Company in North Riverside, Lyons Beverage Depot in Arlington Heights, and MP's Liquor, Wine and Beer in North Aurora. For a full list of Chicagoland locations, please visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. As always, please vote and drink responsibly.
From city streets to political beats, you're driving it home with Patti Vasquez, where progressive talk fuels the ride.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. Joining me in studio is guest co-host Ken Mejia-Beal, the secretary, treasurer. I've heard it both ways. Treasurer of Youth Outlook. Go to youth-outlook.org and learn more about the great work that they do.
I will say every time I come here, you say secretary of youth, and one day, and it's going to happen. I'm just going to just go with it.
Yeah.
No, I'm just going to go with it.
And now,
yep, that's me.
You'll have to take the notes and keep track of all the money. I'm just saying.
Right. Right. Those minutes are going to be a mess. So we
have been talking about being in situations where perhaps we don't feel safe, but when we are in situations where we know that somebody else might not be safe, we want to know how to be best prepared.
Yes.
And joining us on the line is Jill Farrar of Renewed Hope Methodist Church to promote their Building Allies event for bystander intervention training. So tell us a little bit more about this, Jill. How are you doing today?
Hi, Jill.
Hello, I'm doing well. How are you?
Hanging in there by
a thread, Jill. We're hanging by a thread, Jill.
Trying to claw my way to normalcy is all I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
So tell us.
That's all of us here.
Yes. Where are you from originally, my friend?
Yeah, so I grew up outside of Cleveland, but I've been here in Chicago for about 7 years.
Okay. There you go. And how did you get involved with the Renewed Hope Methodist Church?
So I started attending a couple years ago.
Oh, and then it grew to more of a more involved role, or is this a part of the organization that you've helped grow?
Yeah, so I think that earlier this year, a bunch of us kind of got together and said, we want to do something. We see different populations in our neighborhood who are expressing some vulnerable feelings, and so we want to do something. And so we looked at a lot of different areas at which we could help, and we eventually landed on this Building Allies event. And this is really about if you see someone who might be harassed, whether it's on the train or on the street or in a store, it's ways that you can ally with them and kind of intervene in that moment and do so safely, and it gives you a lot of different ways to do that depending on the situation. And so we're bringing in a trainer from Right to Be, which is an organization that's been teaching this methodology for a long time. And we're going to have coffee, and we're going to have lunch, and we're going to do a little bit of practice scenarios with each other so we can really kind of dig into this and figure out how we can show up in those moments where it might be a little nerve-wracking to show up, but at the same time, we really want to be there for each other.
It is amazing to me because you'll see videos over and over again where someone's in a situation where they're either being harassed, physically or emotionally, and no one wants to pay attention. No one wants to get involved.
Yes.
And I think for those of us who do, this is something that helps us understand what our role can be, what our role should be, and how to do it safely, right?
Exactly. And yeah, and there are scenarios where, you might not want to jump right in the middle of two people, but there are other ways that you can advocate, that you can be an ally, that you can show support for the person who's being harassed. And I think that that's really important in this state, to come alongside each other and support each other.
I agree. I mean, it's amazing how much. Is this something that you even see? I know that we shouldn't be arguing with people on social media, but does it also lend itself to how to be present to others who might not feel safe in an argument? Because the vitriol, the hatred that's being expressed online, people are often surprised when it manifests in real life, right? But it starts and is being displayed somewhere, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And we know when you're not looking at someone's face that there's even more likelihood for that vitriol to come out. And so I think definitely some of these things can help to show support to that person on the receiving end of that.
And I think the biggest key, which I might need some training on, is to not escalate the situation.
Yeah. Yeah. As all of our tensions rise, we have that tendency to kind of want to dig in and debate and fight and win. But that's not really what this is about. This is about caring for other people, people who have just been through or are going through something that's unfairly traumatic to them in that moment. And especially with Pride this month, that's why we did it this month. We really wanted to make sure that we were empowering people with good intentions to be have good actions to pair along with that.
And what are some of the ways in which because I really have to believe that standing up for somebody, or at least letting an individual know that they're not alone, can be life-changing, can't it?
It can be. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I just took over, Jill.
Yeah. No, go for both of you. It was not specific to any person. I will take any answers and appreciate them. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that, you never know what kind of stress someone is dealing with or how vulnerable they're feeling in this moment, especially with all the volatility politically, as far as different things changing every day and people wondering if they're safe in our society. I think that it's really important to be able to show support, even the kindness of a stranger. Those types of things can go a long way. And so it doesn't have to be, your best friend. These are things and tools that can help you show up for anyone in a critical moment.
And the event is going to be this Saturday. Tell us about the event that you guys are hosting on the 21st.
Yeah, so the event is this Saturday. It starts at 9:30 and goes through 12:30. It's at our location in Albany Park. We're a 6-minute walk from the Brown Line, so nice and easy to get to. And we're going to be bringing in a trainer, so we've got people in person here. We're going to be doing coffee and muffins in the morning or cookies in the morning, and then we're actually going to go through this training together. And it's going to be a bit us learning. It's going to be a bit conversational, and then it's going to be a little bit practicing. Not that we're going to practice harassing each other, but like how would we jump into different scenarios and how might we solve this problem? Because there's not a one-size-fits-all. Different personalities might be able to be empowered to respond in different ways. And I think all of those answers can be correct. So it's learning from each other, encouraging each other, kind of lifting each other up. And then we're going to have lunch. We're bringing in lunch from a local LGBTQ-owned business called Kill My Name. So we're really excited to really rally around Pride and really help people learn how to show up for each other in ways that might be hard, in moments that might be hard.
And I'm sure there's somebody out there listening that's thinking, I want to go, Jill. I really want to go, but confrontation makes me uncomfortable. What would you say to that person?
Yeah, we're not necessarily practicing confrontation. This isn't always about confrontation. Some of the solutions that I think we'll learn about don't really have to do with, it's not like put on your cape and this is how you show up as the vigilante hero. I think there are a lot of ways to show support for an individual and make sure that you're feeling safe while you're doing it. And so that's why there might be different scenarios where it's right for different things. But there's a lot of tools in the toolbox, and we're going to learn about all of them and when we can apply each.
We have about 30 seconds here if you want to let folks know about being involved with your organization, with United Methodist Church and Renewed Hope.
Yeah, so we have services every Sunday at 10 a.m. But if you want to come to this training, just go to renewedhopeumc.org. There's a big red button right on the home screen that says Bystander Intervention Training. You can register there for the event. You can learn more information about the location and time. Tickets are $25. That's to support the kind of training fees and the lunch that we're bringing in. But if you're having a hard time coming up with that cash as well, just come. More than anything, we just want people to benefit from the wisdom that's going to be shared there, and feel like they can be an ally, a strong ally for their friends and neighbors.
Outstanding. I want to thank you and all of the organizations that have been offering support and showing up at Pride events. So thank you so much, and we look forward to talking to you again, my friend.
Thank you very much for having me on, and hope to see everyone there on Saturday.
Excellent.
Thank you,
Thank
Jill.
you. Let's take a break here. We'll continue our conversation and get to your phone calls when we come back on WCPT 820 and KKNW 1150 with Ken Mejia-Beal, the treasurer of Youth Outlook, youth-outlook.org. Gosh, I panicked.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-708-3091. 800-708-3091. 800-708-3091. That's 800-708-3091.
Join the free smoothie party at Tropical Smoothie Cafe on Saturday, June 21st for National Smoothie Day. Tropic Rewards members get a free smoothie with bowl or food purchase. Terms and conditions apply.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. President Trump and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer say they're signing a trade deal to ease tariffs between the U.S. and the U.K. Lisa Dwyer has more.
On car tariffs and aerospace, a really important agreement.
It's a fair deal for both. Going to produce a lot of jobs, a lot of income, and we have many other ones coming. But you see the level of enthusiasm is very good. But the relationship that we have is fantastic.
The deal does not include tariffs on steel. Those talks are still ongoing. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
They spoke on the opening day of the G7 summit in Canada, and Sakar Magani reports the leaders have a clear goal.
The annual gathering of the U.S., U.K., Japan, France, Italy, Germany, and Canada comes amid global tensions between this summit and a NATO gathering later this month.
I think what allies are bracing for, or what they're hoping for, is to simply get through the summits with the alliances still intact.
And the Center for Strategic and International Studies' Max Bregman says that means minimizing fireworks and getting out of Alberta with positive photo ops. He says the G7's designed to help manage the global economy, which right now is rife with instability.
That's being caused by the United States.
With President Trump's tariffs on several dozen nations. So this year's goal?
Trying to manage this tension and this conflict
without riling up the president. Sagar Magani, Washington.
They also search for a way to contain the conflict between Israel and Iran. President Trump warning,
it's painful for both parties, but I'd say Iran is not winning this war. And they should talk, and they should talk immediately before it's too late.
Federal prosecutors have charged the suspect in weekend shootings of Minnesota lawmakers that left one of them and her husband dead with murder and stalking. Vance Bolter also facing state murder charges. This is AP News. The death toll from a weekend attack in Nigeria has climbed to 150. That word from survivors.
Villagers were still digging through the ashes looking for victims after assailants stormed Benue State's Yalawada community on Friday night, shooting villagers while they were asleep and setting homes on fire. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu described the attack as senseless bloodletting and said he will visit the community on Wednesday.
People of Benue should accept
our condolences and tried hard, very, very consciously, to maintain peace, harmony among themselves.
Benue's deputy governor told the Associated Press he suspects the perpetrators were herdsmen. Among other crises worldwide, the conflict is drawing more attention.
I'm concerned by growing instability in Nigeria.
At the UN Human Rights Council, High Commissioner Volker Turk.
Violence between farming communities and herders is increasing.
I'm Jennifer King.
And I'm Ben Thomas, AP News. Thanks for listening.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight, a low temperature of 68 degrees and light southeast winds. Chance of thunderstorms on Tuesday with a high of 88 and southwest winds at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Wednesday, thunderstorms are likely with a high temperature of 82. On Thursday, sunshine with a high temperature of 83. Friday, sunny, high of 82. Saturday, sunny with a high of 92. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 82.
Well, June is Pride Month, and all of us who believe in freedom and equality are speaking out for LGBTQ plus rights. But did you know there's a way to raise your voice for equality every month? In fact, every day. It's your phone if you use Credo Mobile. Credo Mobile has donated over $15 million to nonprofits working for equal rights, groups like National LGBTQ Task Force, Transgender Law Center, and the ACLU. And they'll continue to do so because they don't abandon their values when the political wind shifts. They stand for LGBTQ plus people during Pride Month and every month. If you're ready to switch, it's so easy to do. Here's how you make a difference. Go to credomobile.com. WCPT listeners can get 25% off your service for 2 years if you use the code WCPT25. Learn more at credomobile.com. That's credomobile.com. The best way to give back is to go to credomobile.com. That's credomobile.com. Don't forget, type in your code WCPT25.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you for joining us as we continue to drive it home. I'm your host, Patti Vasquez, joined in studio by guest co-host Ken Mejia-Beal, treasurer for Youth Outlook.
We got a job.
Youth Outlook, go to youth-outlook.org and tell folks about the work, because this month more than any, we're highlighting the kind of work that you guys do.
What we do is we invest esteem, self-confidence into our young people. That's the best way to put it. And I really encourage you to go to youth-outlook.org, really look at our site. Feel free to throw a couple of dollars at us. And it's not a donation, it's an investment into not just their future, our future, because we have to pass it over at some point.
Excellent.
Invest into your own future.
And I now, do you are you walking with them as Outlook Youth Outlook marching for Chicago Pride? Do you have an event?
So I will be working with WCPT 820 AM Heartland Signal.
What?
5th year in a row.
Oh, congratulations and thank you.
I love it. So I will be doing that
coverage. Okay.
Coverage. I will be covering the Chicago Pride Parade.
Oh, I love that.
But we will be there.
Excellent. So I might circle back after, depending on what number we are, because last year I was done early and I walked all the way back. I got to see the parade for the first time, but walking,
I know, I enjoyed it.
Well, it was walking through it was so cool. I love Pride. And yesterday, what day is today? Today's Monday.
Today's Monday.
So yes, yesterday I was in Woodstock. I was the celebrity grand marshal. It was wonderful.
Good. You were the grand marshal?
I was the grand marshal.
How was that?
It was really wild.
Good.
I felt like I was waving from the back of a 1970 convertible Cadillac. It was very
sexy,
fun with my friend Heather Lally, and we were handing out candy. I'm not comfortable throwing things at kids and luring them into traffic.
Okay, but when you say it the way you just said it, nobody should be. But it's not the way you just said it is horrible.
I'm like beating kids with like, and I'm like, I'm trying to like, what's the velocity that you should throw with? I'm like showering people with candy.
Underhand.
I know, and I'm left-handed, so I'm like trying to throw from this way, that way, and
underhand.
And I'm like, it was.
I mean, the way you just describe it would be the way someone describes like the Wizard of Oz,
yes.
like. A girl and 3 of her mismatched friends go on a killing spree across the land of Oz. And it's like, oh, well, that's not, well, kind of, but sure. You're not.
I felt bad having the candy and feeling uncomfortable throwing it at people.
I have been going to the parade for years, and I remember the year right before they banned people from whipping stuff. I will never forget, it was the Corona float, and they had these metal Corona beer openers.
No.
It's like Pride 2009. And they were throwing them at us. Yeah. And it got to a place where people in the crowd, we were just like, no, we don't want it. We don't want it. It was terrifying. I've never been more terrified at Pride in my life. Thanks, Corona.
Thanks, Corona. Yeah, that sounds dangerous.
After that year, it was banned.
Yeah.
So now you can't throw stuff at people.
We need to have like marketing paper airplanes. I think cozies are perfect.
Cozies are perfect.
They don't fly as well.
They don't, but... Those metal beer openers.
Yeah, if you have your choices. Yeah,
I would rather have to bend down for the cozy than to go check into a hospital because I got hit in the face with a Corona beer opener.
That sounds right. Yes. And again, with the candy thing, I feel bad. And then you feel bad because you're not giving enough to one group of kids, or it's just a lot of pressure.
Life ain't fair. These kids got to learn.
This is a good point.
And the parade is where they learn.
I know. And I have to say, there were people that know the show. They said they were staying hydrated. So thank you for staying hydrated, folks.
Hydration is key.
Hydration is key. And I met some wonderful listeners yesterday. A woman from Gurney, I think her name was Amy as well, drove in.
You met all the Amys.
I met all the Amys. There were just a lot of wonderful folks out there. And our friends from the McHenry County Dems.
Yes.
Including Mary, who was like chasing me down the road because I'd stopped by. But it was, and I'm going to be doing an event for them on November 8th. They'll have a fundraiser that
we'll have to remind November 8th.
November 8th, remind me, because I should probably put that on my calendar.
Oh, don't ask me
if I keep saying it, I'm just saying treasure of Youth Outlook.
I remember money, not dates.
Let's get to you. So we are going to start. So I don't know if we need to, since we some of my listeners, my folks who are on hold, some of them have hung up because when we get a lot of callers on hold, we've come up with a solution in order to get to all the callers and make sure we get to all of our guests and have room for us to have a conversation and cover news stories. It's a lot. It's a lot going on. But we only have 2 callers, but I still think that maybe we'll give them more time than the 20 seconds that is intended. So it's called, hold on, let's introduce our next segment, right? This is called, folks, you can call in 773-763-9278. If you want to join our rapid transmit, you can call us on the Credo Mobile phone and text line, right? 773-763-9278. Credo Mobile, progressive phone company that is better for all people and the planet. Visit credomobile.com. I want to thank Dan Levy and Matthew Cummings, who have helped me with this segment because this has been a long time in the making. This was actually intended early on while we were trying to work out what the show is going to be. Now that we are carried in Seattle, Washington on KKNW, Alternative Talk of Seattle, and KTNF AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, our friends Minneapolis, St. Paul, of course, tuning here on WCPT 820, Heartland Signal. Again, we are joined in the studio by guest co-host Ken Mejia-Beal, and here's the intro to our new segment. Let me see how this sounds. Let's see.
Welcome to Rapid Transmit.
So this will be your heads up that the segments that you're.
Can we please add, if someone listening out there, doors open to the left.
Doors open on the left.
Yes!
WCPT.
Yes!
Aren't buttons fun? So that'll be doors open on the left. So it'll be this. So this is when you know to call in. If you want just 20 seconds.
Rapid Transmit.
I won't argue with you unless it's flat out lies, in which case we will cut that short.
Yeah.
And if it's abusive, so then this will be the calls.
Doors open on the left.
And then this
WCPT.
This is when your 20 seconds are up.
I love it.
Doors closing.
And then for the last call of the segment will be this.
This is the final stop for Rapid Transmit. Please continue to listen to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
It's all Matt Cummings and Dan
Thank you,
Levy.
Matt. Thank you, Dan. And this is why I keep coming back. This is why.
So we have 3. So, and again, I know that there's a lot of heavy stuff. So I mean, I'm not gonna rush to these guys.
It's gonna be heavy,
but it's gonna be 20-ish seconds. I'm just out of courtesy for everybody. There are some folks sometimes that look, and I get that you've waited all day to talk and share thoughts with us. Like some people, like I feel like some listeners like quiz me on stuff. Like
this
one
is
guy, yes,
exactly how parents explain when you can't go to Disney World. But keep going, like keep going.
Well, there's one caller. There's one caller who would like give me these Bible passages and be like, "What do you think about that?" I'm like, I don't really have any opinions. And then they got mad at me. And then when I referred to them, like threatened to like legal action on the station. And so like I was like, dude. So at any rate, and I this is not any one particular call or in general. It's just to make sure that we get to all callers and you have similar time. So because we have 3. Now the phone lines are lighting up. 773
Disney World, we ain't coming, baby.
9278. So let's get to the calls now.
Yes, let's do it.
And then see if we get to my hot take on Heartland Signal news stories. Okay, it's a lot. It's a lot happening. Okay,
serious.
All right, reset. Let's introduce the segment for the Credo Mobile phone and text line. Credo Mobile, better for the planet and for people.
Welcome to Rapid Transmit.
All right, Jim, you've got 20 seconds. Here we go. Hold on a second.
Doors open on the left at WCPT.
And go, Jim. You're on the air. Uh-oh.
Jim?
Our inaugural phone call, and he's not on. Jim! Oh,
Come back, Jim.
I think he muted us. Hold on a second. All right, so let's reset. Doors open. Okay, what to do? I'm going to reset
Doors open on the left. Yeah.
Doors open on the left at WCPT.
Go, Dave from Hoffman Estates.
Yeah. Hey, Patty, Ken. I better watch. I'm eating up my time just saying. That with these Army guys that were marching, that was embarrassing. That if you recall, them were hand-picked ones. And if they didn't want to be there, they had to just let their leadership know and they would get swapped out. So them are all Trumpies that wanted to be there.
Huh.
So
do you think they changed their minds?
It ain't nothing that they were trying to show them up, and that it was just they were some sad sacks out there. And what you were talking about, the tucking the boots in, it used to be called blousing the stuff. And with your argument about, that with that representative getting shot and killed, and that it's kind of like in Minnesota now, the innocence and the naivety is lost now, kind of like when Kennedy got assassinated, Camelot got lost, and that. And I'm sure they brought up in the bar to you about Steve Scalise getting shot by a Bernie supporter, too, so.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'll close you out with this. I just seen where Trump is telling evacuate Tehran now, and Keg said sending U.S. assets to the region.
Yeah.
So, and he wants to
be involved, but no new wars was his whole thing, right?
Yep. Here we go.
Yeah, and they all believed him. And he wants that Nobel Prize by hook or by crook.
That's right.
So, anyway, let me get off. What good
closing.
timing.
Thanks,
I'm playing
Dave.
around with the segment right now. Let's see if Jim is back. Hey, Jim, are you on the line, my friend? Hey, Jim. Oh, man. Jim. I left him on hold too long. Steve from the Gold Coast. Hey, Steve, what's on your mind?
Yes, I'd like to make a couple of points. One, we have a long tradition of political violence in this country, and that's not anything to be proud of. But I will say that there is a distinction to be made, and that unlike in the past, for instance, when RFK was assassinated, when his brother was assassinated as president of the United States, it wasn't because of some leadership on the right. The Speaker of the House or someone in the Senate or whatnot. I mean, today we have a president who's actively cultivating this kind of atmosphere in this country. And you notice he hasn't come forward to condemn this, to talk about, how horrible political violence of this sort is. Nothing. So, this is the kind of tacit approval that these people are getting. And we already know that this person had ties to MAGA. He was a staunch Republican Trump supporter. So, when you don't stand up and say this is wrong, what do you expect is going to happen a year from now, 6 months from now, perhaps even sooner? So, it's different. This is not the same world that we were living in just 10 years ago.
Very true.
Absolutely.
Very true.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
Appreciate it.
Doors closing.
Hey, Stan in Champaign, what's on your mind, my friend?
Hey, Patty, this is my first call to your show. I hope it's not my last.
Oh, wonderful.
I do hear you on occasion.
Oh.
Of course, I'm in my car, but I wanted to talk to you about the demonstration in Champaign. I am 76 years old. I went to my first demonstration in 1969, and we were demonstrating, of course, against the Vietnam War.
Mm-hmm.
And the demonstration we had at the Urbana Courthouse was the largest demonstration I've seen since.
Oh, man.
There had to be more than 1,000 people there.
Oh, amazing.
That's great.
I love hearing that.
That is great.
That's fantastic.
And there was absolutely no violence. The maggots didn't even decide to show up, except in their cars, so they could drive away quickly.
Yeah, just like the cockroaches they
If there
are.
was any sniff of trouble, they could drive away quickly.
Yep.
But there were a few maggots in cars. But for the most part, everybody that drove by in cars, honking their horns and flying their flags, were all in favor of doing away with our current administration.
I'm so glad.
Legally.
I'm so glad that it was a safe event, that that people gathered, that you also showed support for each other. Thank you for letting us know, Stan. Don't let this be the last time you call, okay?
It won't be. Thanks, Patty.
Thank you so much. Let's continue our conversation when we come back on WCPT 820 and KKNW 1150 and KTNF AM 950. Boom. With Ken Mejia-Beal, treasurer of Youth Outlook.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
It's not just you. There really were more food recalls in the United States last year. According to a report published by the Public Interest Research Group, a nonprofit focused on consumer protection, there were about 300 food recalls in 2024. The big ones, of course, were McDonald's Quarter Pounders, Boar's Head deli meats, and cucumbers. Believe it or not, cucumbers were actually responsible for more hospitalizations than any other food. Now, experts we talked to said at home, it's the things we don't cook that tend to be the biggest problems. Clean and sanitize all the surfaces in your kitchen that come into contact with raw food. Also, invest in a proper thermometer. Make sure to cook your food to safe internal temperatures recommended by foodsafety.gov, and don't leave food out on the counter for too long. Get it in the fridge as quickly as possible. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
The DQ Sauced and Tossed Chicken Strip Baskets have more flavor than your taste buds know what to do with. We start with all white meat, breaded, seasoned, and fried to crunchy perfection. Next, we double down and toss them in honey barbecue or new buffalo sauce. Serve them up with DQ fries, Texas toast, and house-made Hidden Valley Ranch, and you've got flavor on flavor on flavor. Get the Sauced and Tossed Chicken Strip Basket in honey barbecue or new buffalo right now at DQ. Happy tastes good. Participation.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning We always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
No detours, no distractions. Just bold ideas and real talk. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. Joining me in studio is Ken Mejia-Beal, the treasurer for Youth Outlook. Go to youth-outlook.org. He'll also be broadcasting with our team for WCPT 820's coverage of Chicago Pride on June 29th.
So excited.
Very excited to have you join us. And he has an event coming up this Thursday for Juneteenth in Bloomingdale
with Representative Diane Blair Sherlock.
Excellent. So that'll be a wonderful event. And I look forward to hearing about how things turn out. Everyone show up and celebrate. Please. We have been covering the news of the weekend, and it was a lot. It was a lot to take in.
Heavy weekend.
Right. So we have protests. We have not just political violence, but a targeted assassination with a list that went beyond just the two people whose homes were invaded by someone pretending to be a police officer. Mm-hmm. And there were reactions, of course, across the country. I know that we talked to Representative Diane Blair Sherlock, and people concerned about her safety. I think that a lot of folks had the same reaction. Let's listen to some of the stories that HeartlandSignal.com has been catching. You can follow Heartland Signal on social media, on Threads, on Blue Sky, on Twitter. I feel like I'm naming all of the reindeer. Go follow Heartland Signal, all one word. But here's one of the reactions that they got this weekend. A visitor at the late Minnesota DFL House Leader Melissa Hortman's memorial site says he was scared for his wife, a Golden Valley City Councilwoman, when the shootings occurred.
This one
right here.
To be quite honest, he was terrified for his wife. Take a listen to what he had to say.
Let's go to a meeting. I canceled my meeting. I drove here instead. I stopped and got flowers to put on Melissa's memorial, and just reminded of what's happened this weekend. And my wife is a city council woman in Golden Valley, and getting a text at 5 a.m. Saturday morning saying, "Hey, there's been an attack on an elected official. Just be careful." And like what? Like what is going on? And we didn't have any information at that point, like a lot of people, right? But just thinking about my wife, and that I've never had to think about things like that before.
And more, this is true, where people who are related to, who love somebody who is in public office, have that moment of, is my loved one in danger? And I think that happens more often because the truth of the matter is people who decide to run for office really, for the most part, we can argue about the individual cases, but most people are called to public service, choose to charge into the field of battle because they believe they can help make people's lives better. And somebody who is going to attack, who's going to murder somebody, has something that's taken a hold of their mind. And in part, I think, Ken, have been radicalized by the way the language has changed when we talk about people who make decisions that you think aren't aligned with your morals. Because this guy had a whole list of abortion clinics and people who voted for pro-choice initiatives.
And we've had this conversation on air before, but it starts with words. And the problem is before this guy went and did what he did, he probably targeted on social media. He probably sent emails. Like, it'll all come out. But the point is when it starts off with words, everyone's like, well, it's a part of the job. You have to deal with the constituents. There has to be... I'm so sick of the sticks and stones thing. Words matter.
They do matter.
Words matter. And there is a line, and I am a strong advocate for freedom of speech, but there has to be a line. Where the line is now is not far enough. But these guys, the words, they throw the words and then it escalates and then they do something. We have to check it.
Yeah.
We have to check it.
Absolutely. And I think that we can take a listen to Amy Klobuchar, Senator Amy Klobuchar's reaction to this horrifying story. And of course, she was friends with the late House Leader Melissa Hortman.
As we talk about political violence and people talk about statistics and motives, I hope one thing that comes out of this is people will understand what some fine public servants are about, and that is Melissa Hortman. This is a woman that went in. I got to know her. We were both moms with young kids running for office. She knew practically everyone in her district. She worked at her dad's used auto parts store. She juggled being a Girl Scout leader and a Sunday school teacher and trained dogs. She loved dogs. And she and her husband raised two great kids. All that time, she moved up in the legislature and became what many are saying, including Republicans in our state, one of the most consequential speakers of the House in Minnesota history, ushering in major changes to law like school lunch and paid family leave. And just this last year, and I think Joe would especially appreciated this, the legislature was tied, and she and Representative Demuth, her Republican counterpart, through the year negotiated a budget and were able to negotiate a budget for the state with the governor's support.
See, and this is a public servant who was helping the people in her community and in her state. And the language that we were talking about, where you start dehumanizing somebody, you start basically saying they are not worthy of being safe, that they are disposable, is what seems to have taken hold in this man's mind. Not just her, but this whole list of targeted individuals who did not align with what he thought his version of the world should be. And that language is accelerating. And as much as we know that we have these conversations and I know that it might not seem that way to conservatives, that I'm sure they hear the same sort of vitriol. And if I'm guilty of that, I need to also be aware of the language that I use. But I often feel as though what I hate is hatred. I am intolerant of intolerance.
And to be clear, for most of us on the left, I'm sure because I've met some a-holes on the left too. I have. But for most of us, we criticize and critique ideology. We criticize and critique actions. We don't attack the person.
Right.
That's the difference with the left and the right. The right attacks the person. We might say Donald Trump's parade was a sham and he took a nap during it, which is true. They would attack Joe Biden. Donald Trump made some harsh comment about just President Biden having cancer. Right. Like, they attack people, and there is the difference.
And they take so much glory in it.
They love it.
And when I wake up to a message, it calls me a liberal whore. Right. Jeez. Again, diminishing who I am as a human being. Correct. That's what leads to this kind of behavior. Correct. We are hanging out with guest co-host Ken Mejia-Beal. He's the treasurer for Youth Outlook. Go to youth-outlook.org. We'll take some more of your phone calls when we come back on WCPT 820, KKNW 1150, and KTNF AM 950. Thank you to our sponsors, Source Solar, Minocqua Brewing Company. I'll be there tomorrow.
Yes,
Broadcasting tomorrow in Madison at their tap room. I look forward to seeing our friends there, and also want to thank our friends at Kids Above All. More after this.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight, a low temperature of 68 degrees and light southeast winds. Chance of thunderstorms on Tuesday with a high of 88 and southwest winds at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Wednesday, thunderstorms are likely with a high temperature of 82. On Thursday, sunshine with a high temperature of 83. Friday, sunny, high of 82. Saturday, sunny with a high of 92. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 82.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Call us to get your Care Watch right now.
800-741-5819. 800-741-5819. 800-741-5819. That's 800-741-5819.
After serving in the military, life can seem like an endless loop. But the cycle can be broken. You're not alone. Visit MakeTheConnection.net to learn more.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now.
We need to speak out about this.
At 773-763-9278.
Hello.
It's Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
So weird. Ken Mejia-Beal, our guest co-host today, treasurer of Youth Outlook. Dan Levy, who also makes the bump music back and forth.
Yes.
He captured me saying hello, and then so now it's weird when I actually want to say hello, because
I think we should be hello. Yeah.
Hi, Ken Mejia-Beal. Let's take some more of our phone calls.
Let's do it.
Let's see if Jim unmuted us. Jim, you've been on hold for over an hour and a half. Are you still there?
That's right there.
Yes, Jim!
Anyway, dear heart. The Republican Party has given up on humanity domestically and internationally.
Yeah.
They've given up on humanity. They've given up on it. But to me, when I go to sleep at night, I say a little prayer for who's the Afrikaner? What's his name?
Peter Thiel, Elon Musk.
No. The other not. The Musk. Yeah, that's it. I call him Eli, whatever it is. I say a prayer for him because he's talking about getting stoned out of his skull and this stuff that he uses now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the truth is, he didn't live through the 60s, Patty.
Yeah.
The 60s.
Okay.
My darling, listen, my darling, and your gentleman with you. Nobody was as stoned as the people in the 60s. Because
I hear you.
I mean this out of my heart. They had the best pills. I mean, I can think of a million. I want to name them all, but they were fabulous pills. And not only that, I'll argue with anybody on this earth that the reefer was better than the reefer I bought. I bought a couple of stuff at these joints. But the reefer was better in those days because they came from.
Did it smell? Can I ask you a question? I have a very important question in regards to this topic.
Let's do it.
Did weed smell so skunky? I mean, it just smells like skunks now. Like everywhere I go, was it that skunky?
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right, sweetheart. In my day, when I was a kid and growing up, we had Acapulco Gold. We had reefer from Vietnam. We had reefer from Vietnam. In Vietnam, you never smoked reefer when you smoked with a Vietnam, but that was the best thing in the world. You get stoned with them, and you think you were back in the jungle in Vietnam. I mean, really, honest to God. But this character, he's trying to get high.
Yeah.
but it'll never get high enough. Let's put it that way.
Not to make any sense. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, now, but think of this. How do you use? I was thinking of JFK during John F. Kennedy during the missile crisis. What if JFK got on the tweeting machine and said, I think Khrushchev's wearing the Cubs hat. You know what I mean? Something's absolutely insane.
Yep.
I mean, this is human life that's at stake here, Patty.
I know.
All over the world, darling. And I love your show, Patty.
Thanks,
I love
Jim.
this character you're with. And take care.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Jim.
Thanks, Jim. And because my husband mentions, not that my husband ever got high, but I think he was often in the 70s and 80s around people. Yeah. And he says that he just doesn't remember it smelling like patchouli. People would use patchouli to try to cover up the smell from weed. But I didn't, like, I was at a friend's house in like about 15 years ago in Los Angeles. And honestly, I thought my neighborhood was infested with skunks because it was so skunky.
No.
And then I walked into my friend's, my writing partner's house in Los Angeles, and I was like, oh my God, you have skunks. And then I realized, oh, you get high a lot.
The awkward silence that probably followed that.
Yeah, it was so, I was just like, oh, this is Jim might have tipped a few back.
I will say last year during our live broadcast, the crowd right underneath where we were broadcasting from at the Pride Parade. And at one point I looked at Ellen and I was just like, what is going on? And without looking directly at me, she said, you know what's going on. And just kept talking. Like, oh, okay. Yep, that's happening. It does smell. It's very overwhelming.
It is.
It's very overwhelming.
It really, really is. Oh, by the way, I want to say hi to my friend that I saw at the dispensary recently wearing her very bold anti-Trump shirt. Because that's a statement in this neighborhood. I have to choose very wisely when I go out.
As I explained to you, people looked at me. I'm wearing my Abolish ICE shirt today. And people were like... I'm just like, yeah,
that's what I'm wearing.
I'm wearing it, and I stand for it.
I like it.
Look,
and
but don't touch. I touch back.
You can see it on our Facebook live stream right now. You can see it. I love it because it has the like the logo for the slushy, the ice. Is it the ice machine or
it's the ice? It's actual ice. Yeah,
the ice machine.
Yeah,
so they have that big red, blue, and glittering. I love that. That's right. Where'd you get it from again?
I got it at the Columbus, and a portion of the proceeds is going to go to immigration, like immigration lawyer or something like that. They were selling it up there, so I was like, absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. And I know Roosevelt had been on hold earlier. So you've got a couple minutes if you want to call back. But Roosevelt had sent me a link to the numbers in regards to the let's see, which one is this? Trump. So Trump emerges from a conversation with I believe this is the prime minister. Oh, this isn't the right link. Let me get to clumsy Donald Trump drops the signed tariff agreements with the This is fantastic.
It's like a comedy.
Donald Trump made two embarrassing blunders during today's meeting with Keir Starmer, in which the United States president accidentally dropped a key document and referred to an EU deal while talking about his deal with the UK. But of course, I know. So he basically dropped. He had like a folder with the paperwork, and then the other guy had to bend over and pick it up because I don't think he can bend over in those pants. It would be catastrophic.
That would be a national tragedy.
I mean, just say
we have been embarrassed enough. Like there has to be a limit.
It is a lot. And they're continuing to gather data in regards to the numbers that showed up for No Kings, which was the biggest protest in the history of the United States. It's amazing.
We did it.
I love it. Based on hundreds of crowdsourced records of No King's Day event turnout and extrapolating for the cities where we don't yet have data, it looks like roughly 4 to 6 million people protested Trump across the United States. There were also protests around the world. I saw early morning protests in Paris.
I saw a few in Germany.
Yeah, it's amazing. So we'll see. Some people have different numbers. And then, but the military parade, God, look at the images and so many more American flags. I'm really glad that there are people who get that we need to reclaim the American flag because we are the patriots. We are the ones that are fighting for people's rights and freedoms.
Can I, because I love the American flag. I'm not engaging in that, but I will push back a little bit.
Yes.
Because there were folks saying, well, they should be having the American flag. People offended. honestly, I am so much more offended by the Confederate flag than the Mexican flag than any other flag in the world. So I'm not. I love the American flag, but I get the need.
Yeah, I think all of it.
Yes,
I think all of it.
We
The
need
American
it all.
flag, the Mexican
So,
flag,
yes.
the Mexican flag, the Pride flags,
All the flags.
Yes,
Yes.
except for the Nazi flag,
Except the Nazi flag, the Confederate flag. Like, I'm more bothered by the Nazi flag and the Confederate flag.
1,000%.
100. Okay.
Well, and that was the thing too, is that people are mad about the Mexican flag. There's a great cartoon, we posted it on my page.
I saw it.
Right, with the guy with driving the Trump flag.
Yes.
And because they replaced the American flag with the Trump flag on the Capitol
all the time what they do.
Yeah.
Insurrection.
Yes.
Like, do we have to roll the clip?
Yes.
So it's.
Oh no, I'm not saying that.
Oh, I know what you're saying.
Not in place of the Mexican flag. No. Well, because it's so funny you say that, because right in the middle, this picture is boldly and proudly a Mexican flag and surrounded by a lot of American flags. I should have been more clear on what I was saying.
No, and I think we are a country that is built from a lot of other flags, and that's what makes America beautiful.
Yeah, and that's one of the things.
That's what makes America great.
That's right. One of my neighbors. Again, this is where people are different online and sort of adjust because of their audience in person, right? So I have a neighbor who online is extremely anti-rainbow, anti-protections for people of race, color, LGBTQ, but flies an American flag, a Cubs flag, and an Irish flag.
Right.
So it's like, dude, so you get it.
Stay
you get
a lane.
wanting to exhibit and be proud of your baseball team, of your heritage.
And that's what it is. That's all it is.
Yes.
People have a right to be proud of things that they're proud of, or places where they come from.
Yeah.
As long as where you come from is not treasonous to this nation, i.e. Confederate flag, i.e. Nazi flags. As long as you're not an enemy combatant of America.
Yeah, and in this neighborhood where we are on the Northwest Side, there are, every day, it seems, there are people posting photos. Whose kid is this ripping the pride flag off my porch? Whose kid is this, stomping on my "In This House We Believe" sign? It's exhausting. There was actually a guy who they caught in this neighborhood who was vandalizing this woman's house, this couple's house, because they had pride flags. And actually, police department employees came and helped paint the graffiti on the garage.
Good.
Paint over it. So it's
a shame.
and they did catch him. Roosevelt is calling back, so we got we have less than a minute for Roosevelt, but we got you here. I'll do this real quick. Go ahead,
Patty. Real quick. Joe Rogan and Dave Smith want Trump to be impeached. I just sent it to you.
Oh, I had not heard.
Roosevelt, you are always on top of it.
Oh, boy.
Hey, it was an accident. I just happened to be going through the YouTube, and that's what came up. So apparently these guys are going to work on impeaching him. You know how powerful Joe Rogan is with the young people, but I don't know if that's going to work on the
I was going to say, my guess is they turn on him. I'll bet you that they turn on him, and then he'll find out exactly what pot he stirred.
Yep, but here's the thing. This is the last chance they got, what I'm talking about, the Congress to get rid of him, in my opinion. This is a perfect time because did you see the thing with Europe, the guy from Great Britain and the G7 summit?
You mean with I just talked about that. They dropped the document, and he got the EU and the UK wrong. I've got to run to Yep, it was we covered that per your text, actually. That's why I was inviting you to call back, so I'm glad you did.
Okay, well, I had to take a break because you had me on hold a long time, so.
Doors closing.
Talk to you soon. More after this on WCPT.
Bye, Roosevelt.
Shoes Views with Richard Jew.
And with us is our own state comptroller, Susanna Mendoza.
I went to this news event the other day, and I'm telling this story about how I used to love to play soccer, and it just came out. I'm like, I used to love kicking balls, and not much has changed these days, right? I'm still kicking balls. Anyway, I shouldn't have said it, but I just said it again. But it was super funny. But the point is, we're out there working hard, and doing what needs to be done, fighting a good fight.
Richard Jew, weekday mornings at 6 on WCPT 820.
This is WCPT telling you how you can shop blue. Did you know that there are only 49 states in America that require you to have car insurance? At Chicago's Progressive Talk, we're in Illinois, and Illinois is one of the 49 states that require you to have car insurance. Let's look at some car insurance companies that support the Democratic Party. American Family Insurance. American Family Insurance was once very conservative, but since 2019, they have moved to the left, donating $214,000 to Democrats. In 2024, AAA was also once very conservative, but in 2014, they shifted to the left, donating $235,000 to Democrats in 2024. 83% of their donations went to Democrats. Liberty Mutual. Now, Liberty Mutual leans to the left, and yes, they did donate $1.6 million to Democrats in 2024. That was only 64% of their donations. Progressive Insurance. Progressive does not give to politics, but some of their senior leaders do, and their senior leaders lean left. This has been WCPT telling you how you can shop blue.
Seat just this one time. Please.
No, not yet.
But why?
Because I love you, and you're just not ready yet. Now, get in the back so I can get you in your car seat, please.
Putting your kids in the right seat for their age and size is an act of love. Check that your kids are in the right seat at NHTSA.gov/the right seat. Love protects. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
We appreciate all our fans of Driving It Home, and your support of show sponsor Minocqua Brewing Company ensures that our important conversations continue right here on WCPT each weekday from 5 to 7 p.m. You can now find the Resistance IPA, Labor Lager, or the Resistance Pilsner beer at several Illinois locations, including Arminetti Wine and Spirits in Woodstock, Pineapple and Company in North Riverside, Lions Beverage Depot in Arlington Heights, and MP's Liquor, Wine and Beer in North Aurora. For a full list of Chicagoland locations, please visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. As always, please vote and drink responsibly.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. Joining me in studio is Ken Mejia-Beal, treasurer for Youth Outlook. Go to youth-outlook.org. And as soon as he leaves the studio, I'll think he's a treasurer of the secretary again.
That is fair.
So I had the pleasure of joining our friends in Woodstock for their Pride Parade yesterday. It's the McHenry County's 25th Pride event, 25th year of doing Pride events.
Yay!
And I thought that was really wonderful. And it was a great turnout. It was beautiful weather. I can't thank the folks who drove the Cadillac for me enough, and I have to find everyone's names. I want to thank Melissa McMahon, who organized the whole thing. The drag queens were spectacular. There was performances all afternoon. There were wonderful vendors there, so we met a lot of folks and enjoyed a great day.
What I love about Gay Pride, no matter where I go, the drag queens are always the best, and not the nicest, and that makes me happy. It just makes me. I wish for one day I could just talk to people as if I were a drag queen and the world would be a better place.
Well, that's the thing, too. Maybe it's because I get to be a different character. Moxie, you were spectacular and very nice, so thank you, Moxie. Joining us on the line right now is our friend Kelsey Alto, Director of Programming for the Twin Cities Pride Festival, which takes place the 27th through the 29th. Kelsey, you're on with me and Ken Mejia-Beal. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
We're good. We
happy to talk to you.
Yes, we are. I've been doing Pride events all month in Buffalo Grove, Elgin, Woodstock. I wish I could make it to the Twin Cities, but tell us about the events you have planned for the weekend.
Oh my gosh, yes, we have so many things happening. We're kicking it off on Friday night with our second annual Youth Night, which is my favorite event of the year. At Twin Cities Pride, there's a sister event that happens across the street from us called the Beer Dabbler, and that happens the Friday night before Pride. And what we noticed is that kids were thinking that Pride started on Friday and showing up to the cities dressed fully for Pride, but not 21, realizing that they couldn't get into the sold-out event that's 21 plus, and then having nowhere to go to celebrate Pride because they can't get into a bar. And so this is our answer to that issue of really giving that crowd under 21 a space of their own to celebrate Pride amongst their peers. And so we have a youth hideaway at our festival, and we open it up just in that area for Friday evening. All of the participating organizations do an event centered around queer joy. We open up our rainbow stage that does lip sync competitions and has drag performers, and it's just truly the most amazing event. All the adults are in tears watching all of these kids who show up and then realize that they have peers who are just like them. And so many kids come from these rural areas and look around and realize that the world is bigger than what they thought it was, and that they are not alone in this world. And it's the most magical thing. And last year I really thought, like, I hope 200 kids come, and then 2,000 later.
What?
Oh, that's awesome.
What?
Yes, it was crazy. We had ordered free Dominoes for everybody, and those poor Dominoes bicyclists biking to the park trying to deliver more pizza as fast as possible. It was crazy. So we're a little more prepared this year.
Outstanding.
That is great.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. What times do the events begin on each day? Because I know I'm guessing that Friday, maybe a little bit later while people are getting out of work. What does the schedule look like?
Yeah, so Friday is from 4 to 8 p.m., and that's for anybody under 21. But if you're bringing a kid, teen, tween, you can certainly accompany them as an adult as well. It's just really geared towards LGBTQ youth. And then on Saturday and Sunday, so Saturday of our festival, that's the full festival, full park, that is 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then on Sunday, we have a whole slew of events, but the festival side of things is 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And our festival features over 650 vendors. We have 3 stages, 2 beer gardens, a THC garden. We have a queer rights tent, a small business tent, artist alley where you can meet our artists and residents, which is so amazing. We have Club Loring this year, which is new, where we're going to have DJs, a dance party, photo booth, which is so much fun. We have a Pride bull ride. So our boss bought a bull.
Wait, whoa. Let's get back to the bull ride. I'm excited about the Pride bull ride.
Yeah, tell us about the bull ride.
Yeah, we want to know more.
Yeah. So before the tariffs kicked in, mechanical bull showed up from China, and you get a prize. So if you've ever gone to Burger King and gotten one of those king hats, we have one that says I lasted 8 seconds at TC Pride, and they're bull horns.
Love it.
So if you can last 8 seconds on our Pride ride, then you get the magical hat to wear around. It's a badge of honor, and then whoever lasts the longest on the bull will get an actual trophy and a T-shirt at the end of the weekend.
That's fantastic.
That is a reason to go.
Yeah, I've always wanted to ride a bull.
I have.
Right?
These arms are
harder
fun.
than it looks.
It is hard.
I imagine it is. I mean, and I grew up on Urban Cowboy with Deborah Winger and John Travolta.
I will tell you, the secret is in the hips.
That sounds right.
It's in the hips.
Right? Well,
yes.
And you just say
and the pants that you're wearing.
Yes. It's all about the lower body.
I get why they wear jeans now.
Yes.
It makes so much sense.
That's fantastic. I love it. What's the thing that you're looking for in addition to the bull riding? What's some of the things that really light up your life when you know it's coming during Pride weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have our rainbow wardrobe. It started at the festival 3 years ago. It's one of our main programs that we do year-round now. So it really started kind of like a clothing swap style, but our festival's so large that we realized that folks wouldn't want to drag in garbage bags full of clothing to swap. So we collected the donations ahead of time, and the outpouring was so crazy, and we were out of clothes by the end of the weekend that we turned it into a full-fledged program in our office. And now we have a whole cultural arts center that hosts the Rainbow Wardrobe. So it is a free resource for anybody in the community who wants to come in, find gender-affirming clothing. We provide free new gender-affirming undergarments to the community. And it's really a space where you can come in and affirm your gender identity. It's in a space where you feel comfortable versus going into a store and trying things on and worry about being perceived. And we see about 7 to 10 people per day come to the wardrobe, and a few thousand people come through the weekend. So we have a youth location and an adult location at the festival, and we've expanded the footprint this year. So I'm so excited to see that really just become what it's become this year.
That's awesome.
That's fantastic. We've been talking to Kelsey Alto. She's Director of Programming for the Twin Cities Pride Festival, taking place June June 27th through the 29th. Here's a great way to travel. I mean, Chicagoans, you get on Amtrak, you are there in 7.5 hours, maybe a little bit less. Here's a great way to explore the city and participate in this wonderful celebration.
Absolutely.
We love our Twin Cities. You can go to tcpride.org/festival. Again, that's TC Pride for the Twin Cities Pride, of course. Twin Cities Pride Festival, tcpride.org/festival. Thank you so much, Kelsey. It's been great catching up with you.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. We'll talk to you again soon. Reach out if you want any updates or anything you want to let us know. We can always get you on again, okay? Thank you. Oh, I think she's
was
like,
ready.
I'm out.
You're not closing the door on me.
That's right. Well, yeah. But here, let's get another caller in. Let's get.
Welcome to Rapid Transmit.
Because we only have a few moments. Let's get to Victor in Salem. How are you doing, Victor? You're on me and Ken Mejia-Beal. Hey.
Yeah, we don't have much time, but I agree with you. The GOP, we need to change their moniker. Instead of Grand Old Party, we call them Grand Old Potty Mouth.
Okay.
There we go.
Disgusting people anymore. And I think the Democrats need to have a three-letter signature for their motto. And I was thinking of GOD, which would stand for Guardians of Democracy.
Oh.
And we can have God Squad.
God Squad.
God Squad.
Interesting. I'll take it to the committee and see what they say.
I would wear the T-shirt.
There you go. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Doors open on the left.
Oh, wrong one. Sorry.
WCPT.
Sorry, I meant to do this one.
Doors closing.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you so much, Ken Mejia-Beal.
That was awesome.
In our last moments, what would you like to share with the audience? Not our last moments, but I mean as we close out the show. Too much pressure.
Pride started as a riot. That is it. That is all.
Pride. Celebrating Pride is protest.
Yes.
I love all that. Yeah.
Yes.
Because we want to stand with all of our members of our community who maybe can't or don't feel safe.
Correct.
I think that on, I have to run. So the Ken Mejia-Beal, the treasurer for Youth Outlook, go to youth-outlook.org. He'll be broadcasting with our friends Ellen and Scott on Pride Sunday, of course, on June 29th. So tune in. Thank you, Lady B. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
If you're purchasing a new home or refinancing your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Suzanne called after hearing me explain discount points on my radio show because her son was purchasing a home in Colorado. I answered